LeBron in the paint, I stay hooping. I'm on my Nike, just do it. Power or pressure, the movement.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. We have someone here who's back. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be back. It's been a hot minute. I was actually in hiding because of how terrible we were doing all season. I didn't want to show my face, but you know what? We're back. Transfer window's here. Unfortunately, I won't have this Champions League badge on my jersey next season, but the following season, I'll have a gold Premier League badge on there, so it'll be all good.
You'll have the
Whoa. You said gold premier badge.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, you got to be optimistic. You always got to be optimistic, especially in the transfer window when you're signing people, especially like today. We made a big signing with Soboslai.
Stay on that. No,
And
how do you feel about him?
Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting signing when I first heard of the interest in him. I thought, he plays like left wing or a number 10, and we have so many players in that position. I could list 6-7 players in that position, but I was saying in our group chat, similarly to Havertz, where like the advanced stats show that his like pressing and ball recovery and all that stuff is very conducive to playing like in a midfield 3 and like winning the ball high up the pitch and stuff like that. So I think it'll be really beneficial for Klopp's system. And I think the way that modern football is going now with this like box midfield, people playing like 3 defenders in possession, Trent drifting in the midfield, Zinchenko for y'all, or even John Stones for City drifting up into that midfield in possession. Like, he'll have cover, and hopefully we get another defensive midfielder that can slot in for Fabinho at times as well. So I think it'll be good. The transfer window has not been perfect so far by any means, but, McAllister's a step in the right direction. Soboslai's a step in the right direction. Still need 1 or 2 signings, a proper defensive midfielder, maybe Lavia, Thuram. I'm hearing reports that Thuram is, personal terms or whatever, but we'll see how that goes. And definitely a right-sided center back and that could possibly play a right back, like that kind of versatility. I think you guys getting Timber is huge. That's a player that I wanted because he's fast, strong, physical, young.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And, I mean, we can stay on him. He's 22. He's really young. And like you said, he's going to come in and fill a lot of different roles. But how important, you mentioned Timber, how important do you think, solidifying that defense is for your squad? Because I feel like you guys go heavy on the offense a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly last season, midfield and defense were woeful for us. Van Dijk probably took a step back, possibly the injury, his age weighing on him. Joe Gomez was atrocious. Joel Matip is too old, too slow to play in this new modern back 3 style. So, we really need to address that. If it doesn't get addressed, it's going to be similar to, last season or that season where Van Dijk got hurt, where we're 1 injury away from being really thin and, capitulating like we've done. So, you need someone physical, you need someone strong, you need versatility back there. So I think Konate is an excellent center back. He's exactly the profile that we need to be looking for. He's a beast. You need someone who's over 6'3", that's fast, strong, can go in for tackles. I can't think of really anybody off the top of my head because the person I really wanted was Timber. So for him to be joining you guys is it's a bit unfortunate, but there's other players out there, and I trust. We've got a new sporting director. Klopp's really involved with everything, so I'm sure we'll get some more signings here. But if we don't, it's gonna be bad.
And I think I remember you mentioning Timber, one of the episodes that we did a while back. I think it was a trivia or something, and I remember we talked about Timber. But yeah, how do you feel about him getting number 8?
Him getting the number 8, I mean, I thought they were going to potentially reserve that for a Scouser, like somebody from Liverpool, maybe Curtis Jones taking that number eventually, or if Trent ever wanted to officially move into the midfield, he could probably take that number. I think the 66 is too iconic for him now. I don't think he'll ever change, but it's interesting because obviously Naby Keita had it before. There was so much high expectations for Naby Keita, unfortunately made of glass, and
did he devalue the number per se?
No, absolutely not. No, it could never be devalued like that. I think Steven Gerrard is such an icon for Liverpool that that number is I think the more interesting one for me is Luis Diaz taking the number 7 because, he's been here 1.5 seasons. He's obviously shown a lot of quality. He was hurt for a lot of the last season. But that number is actually more important for Liverpool than number 8 because, Kenny Dalglish wore it. Like a lot of, high profile Liverpool players have worn it. So for him to take that number after, 23 is a cool number. I think 23 is a good number. Maybe not for football. I know a lot of people want to have like a lower 10, 9, 7, that kind of deal. So like for him to take the number 7, that shows that like he wants to be the guy. He wants to be in the lineup week in, week out because he's in that position right now that is the most stacked for us. Left wing, left forward, whatever you want to say. Like he needs to be able to, week in, week out, score goals, create all that kind of stuff. Like his role is definitely going to be interesting coming up this season.
I hope it doesn't bring on the curse like Madrid. We had Raul 7, and then you had Cristiano Ronaldo 7, and then Mariano tried taking that. Mariano, bro. Like I know you've been in the team for a while, but let's be realistic, bro. You're not going to fill in the shoes of Ronaldo or Raul, of the greats, And then they gave it to Hazard, and we all know how that turned out. So I hope it's not the same case with you guys, but,
Even like then you have some club legends like who was it? Was it Phil Jones? Someone who like didn't want to change his number for the longest time. But it's just one of those things where, the number for some people may mean a lot, and then for others it's just like, Like I know we made a big deal when Eddie Nketiah took 14. We were like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, when he took 14, I was like, "Those are big shoes to fill, man."
Absolutely.
But
let me ask you. Me and Luis talk about outgoings, and we can actually allude on outgoings because we haven't really talked about that recently. Is there a player or players that you say like we need to let go of this guy? I know Firmino's already out the door, and I think that's a big loss. But is there a player or players that you're like, I need you gone like ASAP?
I mentioned them earlier, but Joe Gomez and Joel Matip, I think their time as contributors. Can they play well in the cup? Can they play well against lower opposition? Absolutely, but like they're both injury prone. They're both not quality enough to start week in, week out in the Premier League. The problem is we're not making those signings, and I also don't see us signing 2 center backs this summer to replace both of them. So I think we'll both, like at the beginning of the season, they'll both probably still be on the roster. Other than that, like Keita is gone. A lot of deadweight has left, unfortunately, on free transfers. Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, James Milner. Obviously, you're not going to get a lot of money for James Milner if you sell him, so I don't mind him going on a free, or those other 2 really, because like their value has definitely gone down with age and their injury record and all that kind of stuff. So there's nobody really. I think Firmino is a huge loss. You saw at the end of the last season when he was coming in, impact sub, tied the game for Villa, played well against y'all, got a goal at the end of the game, and also against Southampton scored as well. So we should have won against Southampton and Villa, and maybe Nunez could have like done something there. He was injured for those games, and it's like Nunez is so he's so polarizing because he does great things, but also he misses so many sitters. And like Firmino at the end of the season was clutch. Like he scored a lot of good goals. I think he might be off the pace in terms of like strength and speed now, but like I still think he could have contributed. I would have loved to sign him again for like a year deal or something like that, just because he's so good for the club. Like his personality, everybody loves him. He's always smiling. It's infectious and stuff like that. I'm actually wearing Firmino jersey right now. Actually, when he left, like I'm watching compilations and stuff like that, definitely getting emotional. But like outgoings, there's really not too many you can think of. There's players that might want to leave because of like playtime, especially like up top. Carvalho is potentially going out on loan to Leipzig, which I think is a good move for him. It seemed like him and Klopp didn't really get along for whatever reason. He was struggling to get minutes, and he's in a position that we have a lot of, left-sided attackers, number 10s, stuff like that. So, and possibly maybe like Jota, because you've got Gakpo, Diaz, and Nunez all playing in a similar role. I think Jota is in the starting 11, the best 11. What you have pulled up right now, Salah, Gakpo, Jota, that would be my preferred front 3 personally. I think Gakpo's doing a really good job of like taking that Firmino role, dropping deep, receiving the ball, turning, creating things, but also with that pace and that power and that shot, which is really good. But yeah, leaving the club, I mean, maybe Henderson as well, but I mean, he's the captain. He'll be good for rotation. If we sign more midfielders, he'll be a good option, like off the bench to come in and do what Milner's been doing the last couple of years, like seeing a game out, holding possession, getting a foul, getting a yellow card, riling the team up, that kind of deal. So I don't really know about too many outgoings, but we definitely need to start like making more moves incoming. What about you guys? What about leaving for y'all?
Go ahead, Luis.
Well, I don't know, man. So they always said that Xhaka was gonna leave, but it turns out that he might stay. I mean, Xhaka's a weird one. He's been a great player for us recently. He's had his struggles before, but honestly, I wouldn't mind keeping him as a rotational player, like Henderson, like you mentioned, just because he's a great leader. He's not our captain anymore. We all know that story, but he still provides a lot to the team. If we could keep him, I wouldn't mind. That's if we don't sign another midfielder, because apparently they're struggling to get rid of him because obviously they want to sign Rice, and they don't know if Thomas is going to leave. And that's another weird one because Thomas is a great player when healthy, but he's been having a lot of injury issues lately. He's getting of age, and if we could replace him with like Alavia, which I know you mentioned as well.
Yeah.
Obviously he doesn't have the experience, but I mean we have Declan Rice there, and they bring in Havertz. Apparently he's gonna be in that midfield role. We don't know how he's gonna play. He could play anywhere up top, I guess. I don't believe that he's a striker, but if Arteta can make it, he's not. But I mean, if Arteta wants to put him up top, maybe the coach changes his finishing. Look at Vinicius when Ancelotti joined Madrid. Yeah. Before that, he was horrible at finishing. Ancelotti comes in, practice, and one of the best top 3 wingers in the world currently.
Absolutely.
But I mean, as far as that, I would definitely get rid of Holding. I think his time is up. We saw last year, previously that he struggles to play against big teams. He's a mid-level type of center back, and I think we need to get rid of him. If we could bring someone else in, I mean, we're getting Timber back, and I don't know, man. I don't want to get rid of Tierney because that's another one that's been rumored to leave because I think he's a great left back when healthy, of course. But if we
can't really play that like inverted role.
He can't. He's very good defensively, he's very good defensively. But as far as like attacking wise, he's a very good crosser, crosser. But as far as like inverted roles, dropping into the middle like Zinchenko does, he's not very good at it. He tries, but I feel like he looks awkward doing it. Like I don't know if it's just the way he like runs or plays, but I think. And another player is Eddie. I think Eddie should go, man. I know we talked about this. I've never thought he was he's a decent striker. Don't get me wrong, he's a decent striker. But if we want to finish and compete and win championships, we have to get a real 9. And Eddie is a real 9, of course, but I don't think he's a lethal striker. I don't think he has the physicality to do that. And I know I don't want to say Balogun just because of the hype, but I would love to see him get a chance. And if we could get
he had 20 goals in Ligue 1. Like he was really good.
Of course. And the thing is, and then the way you can counter that is saying it's Ligue 1. Pepe balled out, and that's
Lacazette had a great year this year.
Lacazette was he the leading scorer?
He couldn't score. Yeah. He couldn't score to save his life.
My man couldn't tap in or anything with us, and then he goes to Ligue 1 and he just revives his whole career, bro. Like honestly, Saudi could probably come and pick him up right now with the form he's having and give him a whole bunch of money. But once he goes over there, he's probably not even going to do anything. But
I think Nketiah had a really good opportunity this past season, especially with like
when Jesus got injured,
exactly, and like.
But he did his thing though. Like
pull it up though. I mean, I just don't think he even have double-digit goals across all competitions. I don't think.
No.
I mean, he was also injured too, if I'm not
at the
mistaken.
end. I think he got injured when Jesus came back.
Yeah, but like you got to take advantage of opportunities like that.
If we could get if we can get something out of Eddie, because I know some clubs are interested.
You could get like 15, 20 probably, maybe like 30.
Yeah, so look, check this out. 17 goals in the last 24 starts he's made for the club. That's crazy to me.
There's no way that's true.
That's got to be in the cup. That's against like
that has to be
League One competition.
This year he had a crazy run this year, bro. Only person that had scored more in the time frame when he starting after the World Cup was Haaland, literally. Like we have to like pull that up if you can find it. But the dude was doing his thing, and we even talked about it. I was telling you like off camera, of course, I was telling him, like, I watch a lot of AFTV, and then, like, Robbie made a good point. He said, like, if Nketiah had a Brazilian last name and he was Brazilian striker and he performed the way he's performed, bro, we'd be, slicing his head up. But because he's Eddie Nketiah and we're used to it, we're like, he's not good enough, not good enough. For me, I mean, I do believe that we have to get rid of one of the two. We cannot have both. And Balogun's still so unproven that, remember, I was telling Luis, like, we shouldn't rush to sell him. I think they both need to have some sort of tryout period in this American tour that they're about to have. And whoever performs better, you know, we sell the other one. Regardless, either one is going to get you either 30 to 40 million in this transfer window, and keeping both of them is just going to make them both unhappy. Where Brad Haverton, Trossard also plays striker when Gabriel gets hurt.
Another false nine type player, though. You need an actual 9. And also, reading what you have up here, it says 17 goals in his last 24 starts. So obviously he hasn't had too many starts this season.
But that's still solid.
Yeah,
like,
it's good. Don't get me wrong. For a rotational player, but that's not what you guys need to compete on the next level, to try to win Champions League, to try to win the league. Like, you need a guy that's going to bang in 20 goals in the Premier League, 10 in all the other competitions, which, you know, obviously it's tough to find in the market, and, like, you got to spend a lot of money, and you've already spent a lot of money on Declan Rice, but that's the state of the market with the way, like, you know, all these, like, countries are pumping all their money into clubs and stuff like that. But yeah, I just what you said about, like, having them do a tryout in the preseason is just,
it's tough because, like, it's preseason.
It's preseason, yeah, and
I agree,
and if it's in America, you know, Balogun's gonna ball out. Like, he wants to show out for his new faithful and stuff like that. So,
I mean, I say we get rid of one. It's just hard right now to determine which one of the two.
And I think we would.
Me personally, I'd keep Eddie.
We're probably gonna sell Balogun just because I think his value is a little higher currently. He's younger, obviously, and he's obviously in form. So people see that, and then they're obviously gonna pay more for Balogun than Eddie. If it comes down to, like, making money and trying to get something back, then obviously they'll get rid of Balogun.
I also feel like, weirdly, like, Balogun, he just gives me the perception that he's, I mean, he knows his worth, which I respect, but I just feel like he's more, like, he's gonna speak up more after, like, Eddie, even, like, when they had the Arsenal, the Arsenal Amazon series, you could see there was a player, I don't know if it was Sambi or somebody was complaining to Eddie, and Eddie was like, yo, chill out. We're all here to do something
all been
big,
there, yeah.
and we've all been there where we don't get playing time, and stay positive.
Oh, like, that's another player, Sambi.
And so Eddie just gives me the vibe where he can deal with sitting on the bench for multiple games. As far as Balogun, he gives me the vibe where he's going to be like, you know, report is that Balogun's next deal is not going to re-sign with Arsenal, which is already a thing. And, you know, report is he's not coming back to Arsenal, and report is that he wants to be a starter.
He doesn't want to get loaned out anymore.
But it's just too much. Where it's like Arsenal right now, they don't need that extra, like, news or media attention,
distraction.
Like, yeah, correct. You got other fans down the road, like, that are gonna make it a bigger deal than what it is, and so I feel like Eddie would just sit there and be ready to step up when his time is and his time is called, and when he's ready to go. And Balogun, don't get me wrong, like, I rate the guy, and I think he's going to be a great player. Maybe just add, like, a buyback clause or something like that, where you have the option to buy him back if he does outperform and we want him back.
But he doesn't want to get loaned out anymore. That's the problem. He said it. He's like, either sell me or keep me. Like,
so that's what I'm saying.
And I don't blame him, bro.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't either. But I just feel like we have such a young squad where one player starts to do that. Who knows who else will start to do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
so far we haven't had an issue with anyone, at least, like, public, you know, knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's, like, behind the scenes stuff that goes on.
One thing I want to ask you, Spencer, I know, like, me and Luis, like, I mean, at least for myself, I don't want to talk for you, but I get excited about the youth project, and, like,
oh, absolutely.
You know, we have a pretty young squad. Timbers is 22, Havertz is like 23, 24, Rice is also 23, 24. And so we're getting all these guys that in the next 3-4 years, like, they're going to be hitting their primes with Saka, with Martinelli, with Saliba, with Eddie if he's still around.
Yep.
I look at your squad and I see.
Yeah, that's looking at it. There was a guy I did not mention who was hurt towards the end of the year. Bajcetic, Bakatic, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go down the midfielder. Is
he Croatian?
He's Spanish, but his dad is Croatian, I believe. And he was very good. He scored a goal against Villa, I want to say. It was a late run, chipped it over the keeper. It was really good. He's tall. He needs to fill out a little more. He's very lengthy, very skinny player, but he is a quality midfielder. I'm excited for him. It's just he got hurt early in his career. Sometimes players can't really recover from that. So I'm interested to see how he kicks on after having like a whole preseason with the full squad and getting back to full health. So signing another midfielder is important, but there are young midfielders in our team that still have a ton of potential. Curtis Jones towards the end of the season was one of the best players in the league. And I know that sounds crazy, but like he was taking on players, scoring goals, making those late that like back post run, just scoring tap-ins, like passing the ball, retaining possession, doing a lot of really good things. And I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder because, the whole talk is like Liverpool needs midfield. Liverpool needs midfield. And he's like, what about me? I'm here. Yeah. I'm from Liverpool. I'm Scouse. Like, I want to take that responsibility. I want to be that guy.
Because I've seen Liverpool fans, like, before his form started kicking in, talk smack about Curtis Jones.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he tends to play the ball backwards, at least before. Like this last run of form, he's been really good, but like previously, he lacked confidence. He wasn't, especially after he got hurt, because when he first came into the squad, he scored a banger against Everton in the Cup to win the game, curled it around. It was when we were winning the league, and we played literally like our third team against Everton. They played their best team, and we outplayed them and won 1-0, right? And all the hype on Curtis Jones is here, and he's taking on players, trying skill moves, doing all this type of stuff. He got hurt. He kind of lost his confidence, lost his place in the team, and then towards the end of last season, he gets back in because of the injuries, and he proved himself in that time frame. He just needs to do it consistently for an entire season, So we'll see, hopefully, with that chip on his shoulder, if he can go out there and prove himself.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it in our group chat, but, I want you, to say your piece. What do you feel about the Jude Bellingham and missing out on him? Was it something that I'll let you finish, but
yeah, it's definitely it was tough because of the way it was strung out. And especially like his comments when he said like, "Oh, when Real Madrid won the Champions League, that's what won me over."
That was his deciding factor.
Yeah, and it's like,
I feel like that's a little BS.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's saying that to like try to like get the Blancos faithful behind him or whatever the case is. I mean, they're obviously already behind him. He's the best midfield talent in the world. He's not the best midfielder in the world yet, but I think he will be. And it does suck that we weren't in the market for those types of players, because Liverpool should be a club where the best players in the world want to play. And I understand like money has a lot to do with it, and like weather, maybe not for him because he's from England, but I know Liverpool is like cold and rainy a lot of the time. But, for a player like that who has openly supported Liverpool, openly talked about how Gerrard is his hero, for him not to come, I think it's a failure on the club, because like if there's something more that we could have done and we didn't do it, if it's money, you have to overpay in the market. You guys overpaid for Declan Rice, Absolutely. And that's fine. Like, that's okay. Like, if it doesn't work out, whatever. First of all, it's not your money. It's the club's money. Who let him pay all that money? But, like,
exactly.
It's completely ridiculous. If it came down to that, like a contract, you don't want to mess with the wage structure. It might make whatever, dude. Get that guy in the club because he is so good. So it is a little heartbreaking. There is other, midfield options and stuff like that, but it does sting a little bit. Maybe down the road he could come, because I know he loves Gerrard, he loves Liverpool, so he could come eventually. But yeah, it does sting for sure.
Do you think not having Champions League had a factor to do with it?
Possibly, but I don't know if we believe him that he made his decision after the Champions League final, but like it definitely didn't help.
But I don't know. I got the impression that your interest cooled off before even the market opened. Because it looked like they were like, oh, Liverpool is not even in the race anymore.
Because I think if Madrid comes calling, bro, like it's kind of hard to compete against say no to Madrid. Yeah. Like that's with any club.
But to not pursue it or not go in like some sort of bidding war. I mean, I guess it's just not the history of Liverpool to do that, to stoop that low. But I mean, like Spencer's saying, like when you get a generational talent like that in his eyes and most people's eyes,
you have to pay
you have to pay it. And so that was my other thing. Like I feel like overpaying is when you overpay. Like every overpay is valued differently. What I mean by that is like when Man United overpay, I feel like no one really says anything. But when clubs like Liverpool and Arsenal, who aren't really known for overpaying, do it once or twice, people are like, "Oh, yeah, overpaid." Like, why do you think that is?
There's a lot of pressure on those players, but I guess, like you said, because we don't do it too often, so when we do it, like there's a lot of scrutiny on those players. I mean, look at Nunez. Like, I mean, obviously he comes in the Premier League the same season as Haaland, right? So that's already a lot of pressure. And then he's like upwards of 100 million, depending on like add-ons and stuff like that. He starts missing chances. Social media's going crazy, whatever. The fans in Liverpool have always been behind Nunez. I think it's like I don't know, but the overpaying issue is like, it's a gamble. Everything is a gamble.
Absolutely.
I don't know why we get scrutinized for it more, but I feel like Man U does too, because like people talk about Sancho's price tag all the time and how
the problem with Man U is they do it all the time.
They do it all the time.
They do it all the time.
They do it, and then all their players pretty much flop. So it's kind of different. Yeah. And like with us, it's like
Pepe. That's the only person they talk about.
The thing is, and that's another thing, Pepe. Right? Yeah, we paid a shitload for Pepe. I get it, but they try to say like, oh, he's a flop, and he was a flop. He didn't turn out to be the player that we all wanted to, but his stats don't lie. I mean, he's performed, he's assisted, he scored.
Way better than Sancho.
Exactly. I was looking at this. I was looking at the head-to-head comparable to Sancho, and it's so much better. Like more goals, more assists, like better performance, and he's came in clutch in moments. Free kicks in the last few minutes, like bangers, and it's obviously I think it's just wrong. I guess it was the wrong time when he came into the club because we were struggling as a team, and I'm pretty sure maybe in this team right now he'll probably do a little bit better. But regardless, like we don't do it as much. With Nunez, we're yet to see. He had a decent season. He wasn't like, I guess, what everyone was expecting him to be. But he's
so
still
frustrating.
He wasn't bad. Like he had, like you said, he had glimpses
he just had
of moments where he was like, "Damn, who's this?"
Yeah, he's fast as shit. So like he looks good. He's powerful. It's just like the finishing. He got. I mean, this might be really crazy to say, but like if you told me for one season, not necessarily going forward, like would you rather have Firmino in the squad or Nunez? I would maybe take Firmino. I know that sounds absolutely ludicrous, but Nunez, we don't even know what his best position is. Is it left wing? Is it through the middle? Like, we don't even know.
I think he's better off the left wing, in my opinion.
And you know who else is really good on the left wing? Luis Diaz, Jota, like, it's Gakpo. They're all better than him right now, and they were all cheaper than him. So, I mean, it's super frustrating. I don't know if he will come good. I cannot give a definitive prediction if he's going to be good or not. I want him to be. I, like, badly want him to be. I have a Nunez jersey. Like, I will never buy a player's jersey before they play for the club ever again. Like, I cannot do it.
I did the same. Well, I didn't do it before they played for the club. I did it while he was playing for the club with Lucas Torreira. I have his jersey because he was balling out. I was like, man, this guy's a beast. Like, he's a little tank. And then we just get rid of him. Like, it's so bad. Like, Emery tries playing him as a cam. Like, bro.
I was just dying out there and getting cooked. And then they put him at... He struggled at CDM, too, for a little bit.
Nah, I think CDM, he did really good, but
he's an engine.
I think what you just need to do it when they win you some money.
Well, if they hit me a parlay, then I'll buy a jersey.
Made me money too, but like,
Nunez lost me a whole bunch of money, bro.
Salah is the only one that will consistently make me money.
Actually, Salah lost me money once. I needed him to have a shot on target, and then he missed that one PK. I just needed one more shot on target, and he
just missed the PK.
And I think that was us against them when like Martinelli scored and you needed that.
He missed 2 penalties last year.
No, I think it was
bad.
I think it was another game, but
I think a Bournemouth. I think.
I think so. It was like, I don't know. It was a long parlay, and then I had everyone 2 shots on target, and then he missed. And he already had one because I think he ended up scoring, or I forgot what he did.
Crazy.
He already had one on target, and then he
missed.
I didn't even need him to score. I just needed him to
He didn't even get it on target. It was crazy. I mean, he's a great penalty taker. It's something was going on in his mental for those 2 weeks where he missed. Those
quick
penalties,
question: Would you get rid of Salah if it meant? How do I phrase this?
No.
If it meant like preparing for the future?
No.
Like getting rid of some wages and
no, he's not even on the high of wages, to be honest with you, and he's still scoring a lot of goals. I mean, he's the highest earner in the club. Don't get me wrong, but like the way that the market's going, everybody's gonna get paid a lot, and I don't know. He's just such a legend, and he's still is so consistent. People will say, you know, he had a bad season for his standards, which maybe is correct. He had 19 goals and 11 assists. It was very close to having 20 and 10.
No, he's still
you know, a top 3 forward in the league. Like I can't. He's meant so much to the club. Like he needs to leave on his terms, and whether we cannot be forcing him out just to make way for someone else. The other thing is, like, logistically, we don't have another right-sided attacker. When he doesn't play, like, and we have to, you know, put, I mean, maybe him. He could maybe play on the right. Harvey Elliott can maybe play on the right, but that's another young guy who we don't know what his best position is. Is he an 8? Is he a 10? Is he a right wing? We don't really know. He's also so small, so weak. But, like, Salah, there's literally no replacement for him yet. So, like, unless it was, like, we sell him for, like, with his age, there's no way we could, but it would have to be for like 150 million, and we're getting a generational midfielder and a generational right wing. Like it's just impossible. I would never want to let him go. He's brought so much joy to my life too. So it's less like.
Let me ask you both this. I mean,
no, go ahead.
Your question too. But I want you guys to, you know, switch places for a sec. Like at Arsenal. Is what player from Liverpool, you know, besides Salah, would you take on Arsenal? And same thing for you. What player besides, say, Saka, would you take on Liverpool?
Yeah, because that swap would be nice, like for us personally. But I mean, Rice would be great. I don't know, but that obviously hasn't played for Arsenal yet. If players that have already played, like, you know, played in the 22-23 season. Saliba for sure.
Yeah. Van Dijk replacement.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because I mean, obviously Salah will be, he could be a backup for Saka, but I'm kidding.
You'd have to try to find a way to play them both.
I might take Jota.
Yeah, Jota's a good one.
Against you guys all the time, so that would take, you know.
Exactly.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I don't know. I like Luis Diaz a lot, man. Luis Diaz a lot. I mean, I can't think. Trent. If Trent was playing in the middle, like the way he's been playing recently with England and the last few games with Liverpool, then I would take Trent. I would love to have Trent in the middle because we already play a system similar to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I would love to have either Trent or Luis Diaz. Because, I mean, if in his prime, I would have said Van Dijk, but obviously he's dropped form and our center backs are doing really well. So, yeah, I'll probably do Trent, to be honest. If he was playing like that midfield role and he kept that form up, then for sure Trent.
Wait, who did he play on Martinelli's side?
Who? Luis Diaz?
No, Trent.
Trent? I mean, if he could play right back inverted, I mean, or if not, then you have to play in the middle for like if Xhaka leaves with Declan Rice and then Odegaard.
He's definitely better.
You would put him in the middle.
Yeah. Like a right side of a midfield, you know?
Yeah,
2
so like
or 3 or
Declan
whatever.
Rice. I mean, how he's playing right now with England. Declan Rice, Trent, and then Odegaard.
That's why I do have to give Southgate some credit. Like, he's playing him in where he looks like.
And you know what? I think is crazy. If Trent was continuing to struggle on that right side, I'm pretty sure Arteta would have came calling him like, "Yo, we put him in the middle. Yeah. If Klopp's not gonna use him, I'll use him in the middle.
And then get him for like 50 years.
He would never leave.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But you know, a player that I love on you guys, I've talked about him on the podcast. Unfortunately, we are stacked at this position, like Martinelli. Like, I think he's just so silky, like the way that he dribbles. Like, I'm a huge admirer of that guy. So
you wouldn't want Holding, bro? Like,
no, nah, man.
No,
he's a hairline trader, bro. He got himself a transplant.
But no, with that we'll wrap up, guys. Thank you. Is there any final words or thoughts or?
Yeah, I got one question. Have you guys ever had someone in public, a random person, talk shit to you for wearing Arsenal gear?
I haven't personally.
So
in the past,
I was at a concert on Father's Day with my dad and my little brother. Had a great time. Had a couple drinks, whatever. So after the concert, I'm leaving. Guy comes up to me, says, "Glory, glory, Man United." I was wearing a Liverpool jersey. He says, "Glory, glory, Man United." And like, it took me a second, and then I was like 7-0, 6 times,
7
get
up.
fucked. Like, basically is what I said to him, and he was like, he put his hands up. 30 seconds later, a guy walks past me and says, "Up the toffees, fuck Liverpool." I never see Everton fans in public. I literally didn't say anything to him because I was just
You guys exist?
shocked. Yeah, right. And I've seen
shocked.
Everton fans in public twice, both times in Maryland. I saw a guy wearing a Ross Barkley Everton jersey at a concert one time, which I thought was crazy. But yeah, for this guy to have
Shout
the
out Ross
balls to come up to me and say "fuck Liverpool" up the Toffees, you know what? I got something to say to him. Congrats on staying up, and thanks for the 6 points next season.
Hey, and like that, we're out.
Yeah.
Peace.
See ya.